Higher quality feed can make a real difference to an operation's bottom line. Brian Baxter shows us how some custom forage operators in California are using equipment from New Holland to produce a better product for their customers.
A silage pile is a common sight at beef feedlots and dairy farms across the country. That's because whether they're beef or dairy cattle, they need high-quality feed. In the dairy country of Central California, the corn grows 14 feet high, and chopping corn silage is a fast-paced, demanding job.
We've got hot days and very, very fertile soil that we can grow, really tall hybrids. And so when it comes to chopping, you've got to have the kind of power it's needed to be able to run that feed through a machine and process it. And, so it's real important to have a forage harvester that can do that.
It's all about feed nutrition for the animals, milk production. They got to get the most they can out of this corn crop. They take 3 months to grow it, certain varieties, 4 months sometimes, and there's a lot of money into it, and they got to get the best feed quality out of it. That's to survive in the business. That's just what it is.
Here in California, we're blessed with high yields, big corn. Behind me is New Holland's flagship machine, the FR 920, with a 10-row corn head. This machine is capable of 400 tons per hour in the right conditions. Phenomenal performance.
When we see 12 rows of corn feeding through a machine, it's impressive, right, that we can do that. And we're filling trucks within 2 minutes with, again, 10, 15 ton of feed, and even more so if the trucks are bigger. So it's quite amazing to watch the technology and what we've been able to do with engines and horsepower, along with wear components and crop flow design. It's been a good thing.
High capacity in the field is valuable, allowing forage harvesters to get more tons out of the field and into the silage pile. But even more critical is the quality of the feed, and that begins with the most complete processing of the corn as it goes through the harvester.
We want length of cut to be a certain length because of our butterfats and the fiber in the diet. We want it to be digestible, and we want those kernels broken up really well so the cow can digest it. If you don't have a good processor, you've got kernels going out the backside of a cow that never gets actually utilized and wasted.
Processing in just the last 5 years has become very, very important, and it's been driven by the starch intake of the cow. So in layman's terms, we have an X amount of time from when the cow eats the feed until it exits the cow to absorb all the protein, all the starches that we can. So research has found that if we take one kernel of corn and we break it in half, you get about half of that starch retention. If we break it in a quarter, again, a quarter of that. So now the processors become very, very important because we actually want to reduce that kernel into little bitty pieces. So the more pieces you put through the cow's stomach, the more possibility for the starch absorption, the protein. So we're getting more bang out of the feed before it exits the cow.
The demands are very high as far as kernel processing and feed quality and everything else, and the right moisture. That's the biggest demand, and that's what they expect. And we are here to provide it the best way we can, and New Holland helps us do that.
The processor is a big thing for us. It's probably the key thing for corn, and they've done some changes to their processors by putting another extra belt on there so we don't have no slippage. And that's probably the most important part of a forage harvester is length of cut and the processing, and we like what we see with a 920 and what it's doing.
Another critical factor is chopping the corn at the right moisture. With the New Holland 920 Forage Cruiser, near-infrared technology is now available, letting the operator track crop moisture as they move through the field.
So NIR stands for near infrared reflectance. It's the light wave spectrum just below visible light that we see today. So what we're doing is we're actually seeing the sensor on the machine right now, which is in the crop flow with a round light source, and we're reflecting a light source down to the crop, and it reflects back, and we're able to then utilize that technology to measure what that actual moisture is as it goes through the machine real time.
So putting the moisture up correctly is key to good silage, and we all know that. So, and again, with that integration of technology, it gives us live time as the chopper's running what our moisture is, so we can catch a part of the field if it's too dry or it's too wet instantly. So we're not putting loads into the pile that are too wet that can basically not contaminate the pile, but it obstructs, putting up a good pile. So that's why the technology now, we want it live, real time on the chopper as we're going through the field.
One key benefit of the near-infrared system that we see on the machine today is we're actually able to measure ash. It's the only system and machine on the industry that's able to do that in real time. And that's a key driver, right? When you're talking about quality forage and feed delivered to the cows, maintaining your ash levels is something that nutritionists are always trying to minimize, right? So if we can understand what that looks like in the field as we're chopping real time, maybe we can make some adjustments, whether we raise the cutter head or we change from a rake to a basket rake or something in the windrow formations. You know, anything we can do to help reduce the ash here will benefit us in the barns, in the feed rations, as those nutritionists are doing that. And we're able to see that real time in the cab. So it's pretty cool, it's pretty exciting to see that we're able to see that now and quantify what that looks like in the cab.
By having the moisture lab in the cab, it's easy for the driver to run the machine and be able to glance over and see where the moisture's at all times. So it's just a real nice feature. And this machine has a lot going on, so the easier you can make it to operate, the better you're going to be out in the field as far as keeping the feed in the truck. And so the way they've laid that cab out with the joystick and all the operations on the joystick and having the moisture lab right to your side makes running this cab and visibility a lot better when you're out in the field.
In addition to the technology, the experts say it's vital to keep these high-capacity machines well cared for to ensure they can be chopping the crop all day, every day.
Maintenance is number one on forage harvesters because of the environment they're in, making sure your knives are sharp. Every morning, basically, there's a sharpening system on the forage harvester, so make sure your knives are sharp, make sure your shear bar is set right, your gap in your kernel processor. Again, just making sure everything is tuned up and ready to go each and every day, and even during the day.
When you're out here chopping and you've got 8 trucks out here under one machine and the chopper goes down, you've got 8 people standing still while that chopper is being repaired. And Garton's been really good about either if it's something we can't fix ASP out in the field, we're getting a chopper from their store over here and using it as a backup until we figure out our problem on the other one. So without a doubt, that's meant customer care has been great.
From the Central Valley of California, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
For more information on how tools and equipment from New Holland can help improve your operations bottom line, visit the website newholland.com.